All right, Likutei Halachos, Nefilas Apaim Halacha Dal Halacha. So what we have established so far is that the Olam Asiyah, this world, this material world, is a barrier between us and Asagas Halakos, and an attainment, comprehension, perception of godliness. However, when you serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you do in this world, and you're doing mitzvahs b'simcha, what you do is you elevate that very barrier, and you transform it, and you use its buffering capacity and make it into the necessary filter that enables you to perceive the light of infinity without getting blinded, without drowning. Same thing applies to every single barrier that a person has in his life. You know, the saying goes, if it doesn't break you, it makes you stronger. But the point is that every single stumbling block that is on your way from Shlom Bayis and children and everything else,
easy stuff.
You know,
easy stuff.
And you see that the children that had it easiest when they were little children, you know, and they were the matzliach, you know, the quarterbacks in high school or whatever it is, they grew up to be nothings, by and large, because they never had to overcome anything. You know, everything was fine. You know, it's like, but it's those kids, you know, that had to be pushed, that knew pain when they were growing up, and they're the ones that grow up to be the most multifaceted, you know, faceted personalities. You know, yeah, they can grow up to become calloused, self-absorbed, bitter, self-centered and everything, or they can become ultra-sensitive and perceptive and creative and whatever. So the barrier itself is never a determination of good and bad. It all depends what you do with it. If you use it, if you tackle it, it becomes the keser. It becomes that thing which enables you, you know, the tour of life fantastic. It allows you to experience infinity. Or it keeps you, you know, a goat herder, for lack of better expression. So he says, that is what the pasuk says, that the end of the deed exists in the beginning of thoughts. The thing is that, you know, the Shem Yudkei Vavkei, when you put it together with that famous combination of Shem Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, you can see it in the Sfardish Sidurim, when they combine the first letter of each name. So you have Yud from Shem Havaya, then you have Aleph from Shem Adnei, and then you have the Hey, Shem Havaya, and then you have, you know, the Dalet from Shem Adnei. Then you have the Vav of Shem Havaya, you know. So, you know, it's a very famous, you know, combination of Havaya Adnos in all the Sfardish Sidurim. You know, they say that that's the way they should mechaven in the name of Hashem. because the Shem Havaya represents the thought. The Yud is the Kesef, you know. The Yud is the Atzilus, the first Hey is the Olam Abriya, then the Vav is the Yetzira, and the last Hey is the Asiyah. And the Shem Adnus works the other way around. You have Yud in this combination of Havaya Adnei, you have Yud in the beginning, and you have Yud in the end, and you know, and then the rest of the letters are interposed. You know, Yud and Aleph and Hey and Dalet, you know, and Vav and Nun and Hey, you know, and so forth and so on. So you have Yud in the beginning, Yud at the end, and the rest, you know, interspersed in the middle. Each letter, each name has 4 letters, right? They both have a Yud. Shem Havaya has a Yud in the beginning, and Shem Adnos has a Yud in the end, right? Okay. So when you combine them, you have Yud in the beginning and Yud at the end. Shem Havaya denotes the machshava, the primordial design. You're going to build a house, okay? So the first thing, what's the purpose for the house? Is it going to be a factory? Or this is going to be a mansion? Or this is going to be a tenement, you know, for 100 Puerto Rican families? It all depends, you know, that's the first thing. That dictates what the design is going to be. So design includes, you know, what's the best design to support the purpose. So, and that determines where it's going to be built, how it's going to be built, and when it's going to be built, right? And then it moves to the realm of Maisa, in which it actually goes to that particular place, and it is built in that particular design at that particular time. And then you have all the 100 Puerto Rican families move in, or the factory being opened, or Donald Trump, you know, having a new mansion or whatever. Okay? That's the pshat of Sof Ma'aseh Machshava Tchila. The Yud represents the Machshava, the beginning of the Yud, the first Yud in the beginning. That's the purpose. What is it for? The end Yud represents the manifestation of the Machshava Tchila, the original thought, as it is being, you know, coming into fruition at the very end. The other 3 letters of every name from Shem Havaya, the K Vav K of Shem Havaya, the Aleph Dalet Nun, this is the design, the place, and the time. In Machshava, that's the 3 letters of Havaya, and the Aleph Dalet Nun is time, shape, and place, is Ogam, Mokum, and Zman in Maisa. So you have the Yud in the beginning, you know, that's the way it says, in the very beginning, in the Machshava, the purpose and the deed are all squeezed into one being. This is where you have, you know, in all the Siddurim, the Alta Siddurim, they have the name of Hashem, they put as Yud Yud. Why Yud Yud? Where do they bring the Yud Yud from? Because it's Yud in the beginning and Yud at the end. And this is what David HaMelech says, you're opening your hands and you supply every living being with will, with favor. So it says, Chazal says, Al tikra yadecha, don't read your hands, ela yudecha, your yuds. In the machshava, the 2 yuds are one. When you open it up to people, places, and things, then you had, you know, this is Sof Masav Machshavat Chilo, this is how it works. Kisof Maisa Shutachlis Gashmis Asiya, the end of the Maisa, which is the epitome of materialistic Asiya, it exists in the Keser. It's already pre-planned in the Keser. That constitutes the very beginning of thought. The Keser is the root of all the mental, the intellectual capacity, which are the thoughts as it is known. The main tachlis of the tikkun is to finish up kavonas abriya and to elevate the end of the maisa all the way to the beginning of the thought. From the physicality of this material world, this corporeal world, that's the end of the deed. From there, you can attain the very beginning of the thought, the pre-design, which is the Keser, which is done dafka through the Tikkun Asiyah. You see all the scientists and all the philosophers, when they're trying to get to these places, but they want to do it with the thoughts only. You can't do that. You can't do that because you lack the Keser. You're brilliant. You're a genius. You have an IQ of 250 plus tax, whatever you want to call it, but you don't have the ma'akiv, which means that your thought is unbridled, undisciplined. You don't let the truth disturb you, kill your wonderful ideas. So you never reach the Or Ein Sof. The Tikkun, the Asagas HaKeser, which is ultimately, obviously, Asagas of Or Ein Sof, is only, B'chinas Mate V'lo Mate, is only possible through mitzvahs ma'asiyos daika, dafka through physical mitzvahs. That is the tool to Asagas Elokus. That's why Chazal said, Asitin tzadikin she'em mechitza ason lifnim misharim mimalach hashavos. Tzadikim are going to be between the angels and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shedemar k'eti omer liYaakov, now it will be said to Yaakov in Israel, Mapa al kel. The Malach, I'm going to ask, what did he say? What did he say? What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu say? Mechitzoson, that the tzadikim will be, their mechitza will be inside, inner, closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu than the Malachim. Mechitzoson daika, their mechitza, their boundary. This is the keser, that's the mechitza. Because this is the screen which is drawn between the Netzalim and the Matzil, the emanated and the emanator. And Yisrael will have the Asagas Elokus as well. This there will be higher than Malachim, because the Malachim are standing. They never had to go through the nisayon of this physical world, so they don't get the keser. You don't get the keser. That's why you see, people that are very, very wealthy, they go crazy. That's what Rabbeinu said in Sefer Amidas, Ashirim, Ruba Mishagoyim. They're mostly crazy. Why? Because they can get away with it. Who's going to say no to them?
Consequences.
Right? It's like, that's why they cannot be Masig L'Kusa Yisborach like the Tzadikim. Because they won't be able to absorb the Riboy Or, because they don't have the Kelim, they don't have the Mechitzas in their Das, to withhold the Asaga by them. You can only learn your lesson if you go through a lesson. If you don't have to go through a lesson, you never learn your lesson. In other words, you may have heard of that particular Chachma, you may have heard, you may have heard of that notion, but you never had to internalize it, making a part of you, because you never stumble on it. You never paid the price, right? You never went to the school of hard knocks. That's why they called Serafim. Because they burn up. They burn up and they flame up from the light of the unbelievable asog, of the immense perception of Hashem, because they don't have the mechitzas, they don't have the boundaries, to be b'ma'akev, to hold it back. Because they don't have physical mitzvahs. And you should see the Torah, Miketz, Kimerach Minagim, that's the seventh Torah in the second Chelek of Likutei Maran. The mechitza is the kesem. And it says, if you, that's the difference between Pesach and Shavuos. Pesach is totally forbidden in Chometz. Bali Reb, Bali Motze, total Isser Kores. And Shavuos you have to bring 2 loaves of bread, dafka from Chometz. And it says in Priyatz Chaim, in the Kavanas of Pesach, that in Pesach an unbelievable illumination comes from above. Say the Pesach, this is an unbelievable illumination of mental brilliance, that come down on the night of Pesach without any step down mechanism, without any order. They just, it's tsunami of enlightenment. That's something that never, ever, ever happens, not even on Shabbos or Shavuos. Only say the Pesach. What the heck do you want? Okay, thank you, I heard. Okay. Just told me that I have to go. Check this. This happens not in Shabbos, not in Shavuos, because as a rule, you always have to accept the moichin, to receive the moichin with steps, one step at a time, during a length of time. But Leil Pesach, everything comes down in one swoosh, one fell swoop, everything comes down. And that is the thing that enables, the ness of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the unbelievable geula of Yetzias Mitzrayim. But still, the aura of Shavuos is greater than the aura of Pesach. Why? Because in Shavuos you also receive the light of the Kesed. You receive it in the morning through the Esek Torah, the fact that you're learning Torah at night. You're awake all night long. And this allows this allows you to receive and internalize the moichin step by step, until when the morning shines, you're zocher to the Kesed. That's the ha'ara of Shabbos itself. While Leil Pesach, you receive all the moichin in one shot. You're getting a care package of all the moichin. Boom. This bechin, even on Shabbos and Shavuos, you're not able to get. But still, you don't get the kesser. And all this is spelled out in detail in the Kavoros of Pesach. Because in Pesach, that was the Terusa del Eila. That was when the light, the awakening was from above. Kodesh Baruch Hu came and woke us up. Before the Terusa del Tata, before the waking up from below. This is before Kabbalah Satira. We didn't get the Torah yet. We didn't have the mitzvahs. So Am Yisrael Taka, they were not ready to be niggled. They were not ready, to be delivered. But the Kodesh Baruch Hu, skipped the end. You went to the end of the one. You take a mystery novel and you skip all the way to the end to find out who the killer is. It's like he's digel saketz. That's why it's called Pesach. Showing the Shepasach. It's dilug. It's skipping. It's skipped over. The Kodesh Baruch Hu skipped all the way to the end. Because they still didn't have Ma'asim Tovim. The good deeds they didn't have. They didn't have the mitzvahs of the Torah that would make them worthy for Geula. Because they didn't get the Torah yet. And that's when the Zohar says, of Galus HaKadmon, the first Galus, they came out without Torah, like a slave running from his master. And since the Geula was without the deed of the lower beings, only Terusa del Eila, only awakening from above. Even though Kodesh Baruch Hu illuminated an unbelievable ha'ara, with his unbelievable chesed, and that's the thing that brought the Geula. It was necessary at that particular point. That was the only way to do it. When you break out of jail, you can't, you can make sure that the shirt is ironed, and your shoelaces are neatly done. It's like you go. But still, you cannot be misaken the kesser. That's the biasada, that's the yashav, that's the harness, that's the thing that puts in the discipline that allows the chokhmah to remain and to become, digested and assimilated into your being. You still don't have this ma'akev and the moichin from the dofen. That's what. That is only possible to do through the ma'aseh tachtonim, through doing the mitzvahs the simcha. But Hashem, tomorrow we'll continue. That's the reason why the inyan of Isur Chometz. We'll talk about it in Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. Ad kan for today.